when to turn your ads off if your Facebook ads aren't working. That's what we're going to be going over today in quite a bit of detail. Some of you voted yes to make this video on my Instagram story, so if you want to see more videos like this, then be sure to let me know. This is going to be quite a technical one, so make sure you're probably watching on a laptop or a desktop PC so you've got a bigger screen, not just your mobile. Now, when it comes time to turn off a Facebook campaign if it's not working, you need to understand that you should have a structure in place as to every variable that you're going to test within a Facebook campaign. And if all of those tests fail, which if you're doing it correctly shouldn't, then you inevitably turn it off because it's not working. Why would you run something when it's not working? But to give you an introductory example of just how many variables you can test in a Facebook campaign, let's jump over to my Word document here. All right, so to begin with, variables to test, we have creative. So obviously you have images, but I've gone into a bit of detail here to give you some examples of images that I've found to work consistently over the past 18 months. So images of happy clients. Facebook loves images of people smiling. In fact, it probably invokes some sort of psychological element, so it works from the user endpoint as well. Images with you and bold headlines top and bottom. So oftentimes you might see, I've used them a few times myself, an image of myself and it has a big bold headline across the top and across the bottom, usually a square image. And the text or the copy you would use in those bold headlines might be big call outs to your audiences like Perth Facebook marketers, for example. Written review, I don't use them as much, but the ones we have used, we've had to jazz it up quite a bit, meaning that we don't just take a screenshot of a Google review or a Facebook review and slap it up as an image because it's really hard to read. So you do need to jazz that up or take just an excerpt of it, a shortened version, and make it nice and big and make the font nice and big as well. Videos, so how-to educational videos, I'm very big on those. Lip sync with a trending reel or TikTok. So those are this is probably more so for those of you who are heavy into Instagram Reels and TikTok. And if you're not, probably best look at it. So I'll leave you to your own devices with that one. Text to speech with captions. So if you have a quick scroll on TikTok, you're more than likely within 10 minutes come across a TikTok video of the robotic AI sounding voice that people have literally written captions for, and it's talking away through what we're watching on TikTok. So that's a good one to use. Works really well on Facebook at the moment. Your work in progress. So I don't know, if you're installing a big job or you're providing a service to a client, get someone to film you doing that. That usually makes for a good ad. It's very raw, very authentic, and that's what you want to go for these days. And obviously client testimonial videos, those work most of the time as well. Different formats. So whether you're using a single image or video, carousel, just a reminder, those of you using messenger bots like ManyChat for lead generation, carousel tend to be a bit funny with images and videos, especially images, because someone will click on it because it's a bit small as a carousel, thinking they're going to get a large version of the picture, and it actually ends up in your messenger bot, so you end up getting a lot of unintentional messenger bot replies. So just keep that in mind. Collections, so I've found Target, I think Kmart and Officeworks, especially with kids going back to school, are doing a lot of collection style ads. So it has the one big image of the product and then maybe 4 or 5 images across the bottom, and you click it and it opens up a product catalog. So if you can work that into your Facebook ads, that's always a good format to test as well. And slideshows, which are technically a video, you can actually make these within the Facebook ad account itself. Different placements you want to test. Facebook, Instagram feed, obviously. We usually use square or 4x5 perspective. Stories, obviously Instagram stories and Facebook stories and Messenger stories, and that's 16:9. Reels 16:9 as well, has to be a video. And I'm pretty certain you can only use it with a conversion objective. So lead forms are out, Messenger bots are out. You'd have to figure out a way to use conversions with that. So this is just in the creative, and this isn't even everything. If you've got a structure as to what you're going to test and when, and to give you a framework to work with, I would test maximum of 2 of these variables in a 4-day cycle. So you would say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to test this variable and this variable because this is what's most important to me and this is what I can do now for the next 4 days, and then evaluate how well that's gone or how well it's not gone, and then take a learning out of that. Maybe you test another 2 variables, maybe you test 1. Really need to have a structure with this because, as you can see, in just the creative box alone, you've got a lot to test. So let's move down to audiences, shall we? You've got custom, aka retargeting style audiences. So people who follow your Facebook and Instagram followers, your website visitors, people who messaged your Facebook page or DM'd you on Instagram, and people who obviously filled in lead forms as well. Interests. So just a quick one. If your audience size is below 100K when you're setting up your Facebook ad, just tick interest expansion. It's a little bit further down below where you actually select your interests. And that's going to allow Facebook to look outside of the interest you've selected while still having a sense of who you're trying to get in front of. And that'll increase the longevity of how long you can run this campaign for before it's going to be inevitably decrease in performance. Open targeting, so that's literally targeting no one, but that comes with exceptions. If your product or service is only for women, obviously select the gender to women, but leave the age open, don't select any interest, and let the algorithm do what it's best at. That's working for, I would dare say, at least 60% of our accounts have always got one campaign or ad set that's running open targeting, and they usually run for the longest time as well because the audience size is so big. 3-tier targeting, I'm not going to go into that too much because that's my secret sauce. Interest, behavior, interest, and you narrow, and then you select interest expansion on. I'll go over this in detail. There's a very awesome instructional video within our Facebook Hacker membership. If you want details on that, I'll put a link below. And obviously lookalikes. I'll be honest, lookalikes aren't as powerful as they used to be, or we don't segment and test as heavily with them, but we still do use them. So you see here all variables between 1 and 10%. And you can create, and you should create them from all of your custom audiences. So for example, you might have a lookalike of your website visitors at 1%, at 2%, 3%, all the way to 10%. And then you might have lookalike variables of your website visitors between 1 and 3%, 4 and 6%, so on and so forth. There's really no limits here. I don't know how many variables that is just in that alone, but there's a few. And then you can test them in individual ad sets, aka unstacked, or you can stack them all together and create a super lookalike, which works fairly well as well, and it's a hell of a lot less manually intensive. And then of course, we can't forget offers and angles. It's definitely something that you want to be testing pretty heavily, because you can do all of this, and if your offer sucks and you have no real angles that you're going for, then you're almost destined to fail, unfortunately. So a low barrier offer is, a fitness example would be $21 for 21 days. It's a small investment, it's a small commitment, and usually people can see a higher perceived value in it. So that's a good one to have up your sleeve. Lead magnet, so a free training or a download. Consultants and coaches definitely use this. This is one I'm very fond on using. I use pretty much all of my lead magnets to be a free training video about Facebook ads for Perth businesses or Australian businesses, or TikTok ads, differences, blah, 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 and use it as a lead magnet to get people into my ecosystem, if you want, onto my email list, to be able to give them some more value, book a call, and maybe we do business together. But that's a really big one. Direct, so you create an ad offering people to do work with you and produce a result for them. Usually you would offer them an opportunity to book a call, or you could repackage your best performing offer. So I don't know, if you previously offered 10% off a service, maybe the next month or the month after you'd offer $100 off, which might actually be the same deal, but it's repackaged. So it's really easy to move from offer to offer with that. I think a lot of local businesses in a smaller population size would probably repackage quite a bit, or would have to. So that's something to keep up your sleeve. And so that is pretty well just some of the variables that I've plucked from what we've used over the past 18 months, and that we tend to move back and forward through quite a bit. So take notes of all of that, take a screenshot, you can absolutely use them. I'm going to show you a real life example of a campaign that we've done quite a bit of testing with this on right now. Okay, so we're looking at this account for the past 7 days, and our KPIs are to keep our cost per lead under $100. As you can see here, we haven't actually done in 1, 2, 3, maybe half and 4 of these campaigns. But without revealing too much information on this ad account, essentially this one is a text-to-speech, which is working really well. This one is a test running all of our best performing creatives. This one's retargeting, so it shouldn't actually count with this one. Retargeting always needs to be running. This one's a very humorous style angle. It's quite an out there style of creative, so happy that one's still running. This one is our lookalike stacks. So within here, all of our best performing lookalikes, which we do, you can see right there. And these other ones which we've turned off are a conversion ad that we're running just on Reels and Stories. And this other one was a different TikTok style creative, which I think we've actually moved up into this campaign. So as you can see, there's quite a few variables you can test within a Facebook campaign. And so if you've got a structure, and even if you just write down a list of everything you're going to test every 4 days and what you're going to evaluate every 4 days, number one, it's going to hold you accountable to actually checking your ad accounts, because I find a lot of business owners are a bit blasé and not really looking enough at what they're spending their money on. So at least you understand what's going, what's moving, and what you're spending money on. And then every 4-day rolling or test cycle, you understand what you're testing, you feel in control, and then you're less likely to make emotional decisions like you've had 1 day of bad performance and you switch it off, and then you look back at the past 7 days and it's actually been an okay campaign. So unfortunately, I can't give you specifically a definitive answer as to when you should turn your Facebook ad campaigns off if they're not working, but you can book a free chat with me below. Click the link, book a call in with my Calendly. It's 30 minutes, absolutely free, and we can discuss a better way of running your ads potentially. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later.